The Philippine Army is the main, oldest and largest branch of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, AIFV, responsible for land warfare. The Army has several types of armored fighting vehicles which are the main combat forces of the Philippine Army. Following are 6 armored vehicles which are the main combat forces of the Philippine Army. 1. Alvis FV101 Scorpion. The FV101 Scorpion is a British armoured reconnaissance vehicle. It was the lead vehicle and the fire support type in the Combat Vehicle Reconnaissance Tracked (CVRT) family of 7 armoured vehicles. Manufactured by Alvis, it was introduced into service with the British Army in 1973 and was withdrawn in 1994. More than 3,000 were produced and used as a reconnaissance vehicle or a light tank. It holds the Guinness World Record for the fastest production tank, recorded doing 82.23 kilometers per hour, 51.10 miles per hour at the Kinetic Vehicle Test Track, Chertsey, Surrey, on the 26th of January 2002. The Philippines has 7 units of Alvis FV101 Scorpion which can still be operated, which were shipped in 1977 from the UK. The Scorpion was armed with the low-velocity 76mm L23A1 gun, which could fire high-explosive PESH, smoke and canister rounds. Stowage was provided for 40 or 42 rounds. A 7.62mm coaxial machine gun, 3,000 rounds carried, was also fitted, as were 2 multi-barreled smoke grenade dischargers, one on each side of the turret. The main armament has an elevation of 35 degrees and a depression of 10 degrees. The turret has a full 360-degree traverse. The original engine was the Jaguar J60 Mk100B 4.2-liter petrol engine, which was replaced by a Cummins or Perkins diesel engine. The maximum speed was about 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers per hour, and it could accelerate from 0 to 30 miles per hour, 48 kilometers per hour, in 16 seconds. The maximum speed on water, with a flotation screen deployed, was 3.6 miles per hour, 5.8 kilometers per hour. The Irish engineering company IED replaced the existing Jaguar engine in Irish Army Scorpions in a successful repowering process with a Stair M16 TCA-HD engine, 6-cylinder, 145 kilowatts, making the Scorpion more powerful and more reliable in critical environments. The FV101 was a very light armored vehicle, weighing in at a mere 8 tons. This meant some compromises had to be made on protection. The vehicle had 12.7 millimeters of sloped aluminium armor, giving an average effective thickness of 25 millimeters. The FV101 had all-around protection from shell fragments and 7.62 millimeter rounds, and the heavily sloped frontal arc was designed to be resistant to 14.5 millimeters rounds fired from a 200-meter range. The initial manufacture of the aluminium armor resulted, after time and effects of the environment, in failure. This phenomenon was known as stress corrosion cracking (SCC), and it seriously affected all early builds. The vehicle was fitted with a nuclear, biological, chemical protection system, image intensification sights for gunner and driver, and a flotation screen. A commode was located under the commander's seat. An internal water tank and a boiling vessel for cooking and heating water were also provided. 2. FMC AIFV. AIFV Armored Infantry Combat Vehicle or Armored Infantry Combat Vehicle is a vehicle made of light steel wheels. This vehicle is a development of the M113A1 personnel transport vehicle. In 1967, funded by the U.S. Army, the FMC Corporation produced 2 prototype vehicles designated as XM765. These were based on their experiences with the earlier XM701 vehicle, developed for the MICV-65 program. The XM765 was based on the M113A1, upgraded with an enclosed turret and firing ports, so that the infantry could fight from within the vehicle. The Army evaluated the vehicle, but decided that they wanted a better protected and more mobile vehicle, selecting instead the M2 Bradley. FMC continued development as a private venture, resulting in the product improved Pi M113A1 in 1970. The Pi M113A1 had the driver and engine at the front, with an enclosed weapon station in the center of the hull and the commander seated at the rear. This arrangement meant that the commander had a very poor forward view. FMC went back to the drawing board and came up with a new design, which had the driver on the front left of the hull and the commander seated behind him. To the right of the commander was a one-man turret. The vehicle would later be designated the AIFV Armored Infantry Fighting Vehicle. While the U.S. is not interested in design, a number of other governments are interested in vehicles which are simpler, lighter, and cheaper than Bradley. The Philippines also received 45 vehicles in 1979. These were intended to take 25mm cannons, although some were later modified to fit 12.7mm machine guns. The hull of the vehicle is made of welded aluminum, with spaced steel laminate armor bolted onto the side and front. The voids of the armor are filled with polyurethane foam, which gives the vehicle extra buoyancy when traveling in the water. Original production AIFVs can swim without deploying flotation curtains, using only a large front-mounted trim vane. They are propelled in the water by their tracks. The engine sits on the front right of the hull, behind a hatch that can be used to remove the complete power pack. The power pack is similar to the M113A1, except for a larger radiator capacity and turbocharger. The transmission is also fitted with heavy-duty components from the M548 tracked cargo carrier. Immediately to the left of the engine is the driver, above whom is a hatch that opens to the right. The driver has 4 M27-day periscopes. The driver's center periscope can be replaced by a passive infrared periscope for night driving. The commander sits immediately behind the driver, and has a cupola that can be completely traversed. The cupola has 5 periscopes, 4 of which are M17-day periscopes. The 5th has 1x to 6x variable magnification. The turret is fitted on the right side of the hull behind the engine. The turret, which has electro-hydraulic traverse, can elevate from -10 to +50 degrees and can traverse and elevate at a speed of 60 degrees sec. The turret mounts an Oerlikon Contraves 25mm KBABO2 cannon with a dual ammunition feed and 180 rounds of ready-use ammo, with another 144 rounds stored in the hull. Mounted to the left of this gun is a 7.62mm FN machine gun, which has 230 rounds of ready ammo, with a further 1,610 in the hull. There is a 6-barrel smoke discharger mounted at the front, just above the large trim vane. The troop compartment is at the rear of the hull. A large power-operated ramp allows access through the rear of the vehicle. A door is also provided in the ramp. Additionally, a single-piece hatch covers the top of the troop compartment. FNSS ACV-15. ACV-15 is the designation of an amphibious armored combat vehicle family developed by the Turkish defense company FNSS Savunma Sistemleri AS. This vehicle also manufactured by Deftech of Malaysia. The design is an attempt to combine the capabilities of an infantry fighting vehicle (IFV) and an armored personnel carrier (APC). The ACV-15 is based on the American Advanced Infantry Fighting Vehicle, which in turn is based on the American M113A1 Armored Personnel Carrier. FNSS ACV-15, previously named ACV-300. The Philippines has 6 APC variant units that were shipped in 2010 from Turkey. FNSS developed the ACV-15 based on the AIFV to meet the Turkish Land Forces Command's TLFC's operational requirement. The first production vehicles were delivered in 1992. The basic AIFV has a one-person power-operated turret armed with a 25mm cannon and 7.62mm coaxial machine gun. FNSS Defense Systems' latest development is the Armored Combat Vehicle, new generation, which has an additional road wheel each side. This can undertake a wider range of battlefield missions as it has greater internal volume and load carrying capability. The vehicle is fully amphibious, propelled in the water by its tracks. Standard equipment includes passive night vision equipment, an NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical, protection system and smoke grenade launchers. The ACV-15 can be fitted with a number of turret choices to tailor to individual customer requirements. They are also equipped with firing ports, which allows infantrymen to fire their weapons from within the vehicle. The ACV-15 has also been fitted with the turret of a BMP-3 infantry combat vehicle. Produced by KBP Instrument Design Bureau of Tula, Russia. The system is called a CVSW. The BMP-3 turret is armed with a 2A70 100mm semi-automatic rifled gun, missile launcher, which can fire either HE-frag, high-explosive fragmentation, rounds of the 9M117 laser beam-riding anti-tank missile. The add-on feature KVH TACNAV navigation system incorporating GPS, LWD AVIMO laser warning device, Wegman Type 76mm grenade launchers, NBC filtration system and ANVVS2 night vision system. 4. FMC M113. M113 is a fully tracked armored personnel carrier, APC, developed and produced by Food Machinery Corp. FMC. M113 was sent to USAREUR to replace the APC M59 mechanical infantry within a period of 1961-62. M113 was first used in April 1962 after the United States gave the South Vietnamese Army ARVN heavy weapons such as M113 under the Vietnam Military Assistance Command MACV program. Finally, the M113 is the most widely used armored vehicle by the U.S. Army. The Philippines acquired 120 M113A1 units from 1967 to 2006. Some of them were converted into fire support vehicles (FSV) and mortar carriers. 114 M113A2 units were obtained from the U.S. Army in December 2015 and another 28 M113A2 units were purchased to be upgraded by the Alvis system as a fire support vehicle (FSV) and armored recovery vehicle (ARV). Lead race in December 2015. The M113 was the first aluminum hull combat vehicle to be put into mass production. Much lighter than earlier similar vehicles, its aluminum armor was designed thick enough to protect the crew and passengers against small arms fire but light enough that the vehicle was air transportable and moderately amphibious. In the U.S. Army, the M113 series have long been replaced as frontline combat vehicles by the M2 and M3 Bradleys, but large numbers are still used in support roles such as armored ambulance, mortar carrier, engineer vehicle, and command vehicle. The U.S. Army's Heavy Brigade combat teams are equipped with approximately 6,000 M113s and 4,000 Bradleys. The M113's versatility spawned a wide variety of adaptations that live on worldwide and in U.S. service. These variants together currently represent about half of U.S. Army armored vehicles. To date, it is estimated that over 80,000 M113s of all types have been produced and used by over 50 countries worldwide, making it one of the most widely used armored fighting vehicles of all time. The Military Channel's Top 10 series named the M113 the most significant infantry vehicle in history. The U.S. Army planned to retire the M113 family of vehicles by 2018, seeking replacement with the GCV infantry fighting vehicle program, but now replacement of the M113 has fallen to the Armored Multipurpose Vehicle (AMPV) program. 5. GKN FS100 Simba. The Simba is a wheeled armored personnel carrier designed by GKN Sankey, acquired since then by Alvis plc and now part of A Systems, and is currently in service with the Philippine Army. 150 units were delivered between 1993 and 1997. 142 units gathered in the Philippines. Includes 3 versions of AIFV armed with a 25mm Bushmaster cannon, 17 armored ambulances and command variants. Any export sales are dormant as of 2020 since production for the Simba has ceased. The driver is seated conventionally front left with a Perkins diesel power pack to his right and the troop compartment extending up to the rear of the vehicle. The gearbox is a semi-automatic Clark 13.1 HR 28422 with 4 forward and 2 reverse gears. This is combined with a transfer box which allows to go from 4x4 to 4x2. Its LHD configuration is a sign that GKN has produced the vehicle with foreign exports in mind. The troops on seats down either side can dismount the vehicle via large door in the rear or the door in the left side of the hull. The driver and commander can dismount via the cupola hatch in the driver's side door. Around 10 persons are seated inside, although 8 persons are an ideal load. The vehicle usually has a one-man turret armed with a .50 BMG, 12.7 by 99mm NATO, M2 Browning heavy machine gun. Some vehicles were fitted with a one-person gun turret armed with a 25mm cannon and a coaxial 7.62mm general-purpose machine gun. The turrets can be retrofitted with an automatic grenade launcher via pintle mount. The Simba was made by fabricated conventional steel alloy or meant to protect the occupants from 7.62mm ammo. A wide range of optional equipment can be fitted to the vehicle including run-flat tires, front-mounted winch, heater, air conditioning system, and various weapon systems. 6. Cadillac Gage Commando. The Cadillac Gage Commando, often symbolized as the M706 in the U.S. military service, is an American armored car designed to be an amphibian. It was engineered by a Cadillac Gage specifically for the United States Military Police Corps. The Commando was one of the first vehicles to combine a separate traditional role from armored personnel carriers and conventional armored cars, such as the Soviet BTR-40. The height is prominent. The ability of amphibians. Terra Space Division of the Cadillac Gage Company designed in 1964 x4 amphibious armored vehicle, expecting to fulfill the future needs of the Army. The later required some sort of jack-of-all-trades, a multi-purpose 11-man APC, reconnaissance vehicle, convoy escort, command patrol and a riot vehicle. By 1962, the patent was filed, and the projected vehicle named Commando. Development was fast as in 1963, the prototype undergone its first tests. The same year, the definitive production vehicle, the V100, was tested thoroughly in Vietnam before the production was started in 1964. Total production figures are elusive, but at least 10,000 vehicles of the V100, 150 and V200 variants were delivered by CGC, then the Textron Marine and Land Systems Company. The M706 is currently replaced by the M1117 since 1999, but still in service in many countries. The Philippines are one of the most prolific users of the model. Some were still operating at Clark AIFV in the Republic of the Philippines in 1988. In patrol, a crew of 12 was often seen, but it was systematic in ARVN forces.